Well, it's a beautiful day today. It's not very good for gardening. Ground's all frozen still, but it's fantastic for hiking and cycling, and that's what I've been doing. But I'm back now, and I thought I'd just do a quick tour around the kitchen garden because it's been a month. And yeah, next month when I do the tour, that's when it starts getting exciting, because about middle of March, that's when I start planting stuff out. And at the moment I'm only planting stuff on the allotment because I've got undercovered space there. In the garden I have to wait until the middle of March really, or early March, because then I can just plant under fleece. So let's take a look round. So as you can see, it's only a little garden, but it does make a really big contribution to our diet, especially in summer and autumn, and actually over winter. It's not so productive in spring, but then that's when the allotment's at its peak. So let's take a look. So the turnips in those containers are all ready now. The blackberries are just coming into bud. It's really nice, and the garlic is all looking really great. I'm really pleased with that garlic. Walls collapsing on top of it, but apart from that, yeah, it's really looking good. So I'm really pleased I tried doing it in these containers, and I'm going to build a structure here over the next few weeks to lift all of these garlic containers off the ground, because that's where all of my summer tomatoes are going. So more garlic here, little tree. I'm actually quite pleased with the way these are starting to shape up. So these are spring cabbages, just with a few onions sort of interplanted in there, because I had a spare tray. And then this bed we're clearing quite quickly now. It'll be cleared probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So this is one of the beds that will get replanted, probably to salads. And that's the same with this, which is salad rocket. And that's been interplanted with garlic, and you can see, oh, crunch, crunch, lots of garlic kind of coming up here as well. And this bed will probably be salads as well, although it may actually be colettes. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't fully planned this garden yet. So that is a bed of spinach, and it's actually starting to improve a little bit. There's quite a decent amount of growth on it now. Let's take a look underneath. And it has become a little bit of a tradition for me to show you the spinach on the allotment, which is under plastic rather than fleece. And also note, of course, that the spinach on the allotment has been harvested every week since about November, I think. So these are the leeks that I transplanted here in December, and these were all multi-sown, and they were on Jennie's plot. And because we've given Jennie's plot up, I just dug these up and just popped them in the ground here. They're transplanted just fine and still in good condition. And this is about half the leeks that we've got left. The colettes are starting to thicken up here on these stems. We've only got 1 week's harvest of colettes left on the allotment, so I'm really keen to see these thickening up. Really pleased about that. Because lots of the kales now starting to show signs of going to seed as we get closer and closer to spring. And reasonable growth, all this new growth on the tips here. More going to seed here. But again, that's kind of just part of what we expect. And that's why it's important to have new kales coming now. And I'll show you those in the conservatory in a minute. And this is the new bed that we put in about this time last year. It's been amazing. Again, Lots of gorgeous new growth on all of this curly kale. And just that time of year now, we're at 9.5 hours of daylight at the moment, and it's just enough to start triggering new growth. These have been fantastic. This is the corn salad, the mainstay of our salad mixes right now. We've eaten about half of it, and again this bed will be cleared by March and ready for planting. This was beetroot, obviously that's ready for planting now. We've got some more spring cabbages. Although they look a bit straggly right now, it's amazing how they start to improve in leaf quality and size over the next couple of months. And obviously they were frozen last night, it was -3 last night, so they're not looking at their best, but they're not looking too bad. More kales. This is Pentland Brig. This is really nice. My viewers sent me the seeds for this. I've really enjoyed it. Again, more going to seed here. And then here we've got spring onions interplanted into a garlic bed. Well, everything's looking really good. Perennial Kale's looking a bit worse for wear, but that's only just because of the frost last night. It'll soon pick up again. I've got 5 gooseberries that I just popped into pots. And we dug up 5 gooseberries on the allotment, so we've now got the same number of gooseberries in total. But some of them are at home. I really like being able to harvest my fresh fruit at home rather than having to traipse to the allotment and collect it there and bring it back, because fresh fruit really does taste better the instant it's picked, really. These are all blueberries down here. Quite a bit of nice buds coming on all of these, of course. And then strawberries there. Again, looking a bit worse for wear in the frost, but not too bad. No sign of life on the raspberries. That's to be expected. Lots of buds on the cherry trees. More garlic here in containers that will eventually have potatoes. So all this will need to be harvested green in May, just before the main crop potatoes go in. Down the side of the house, all the fruit trees, mostly cherries. We've got one pear tree down here, and this is where we've been taking the cuttings from the gooseberries. There's just a few left to dig out there. And then the front garden kale bed. It's looking quite nice. A little bit straggly. But this dazzling blue is a particular treat at this time of year. And here's those little kale plants. The ones that are going to replace those that are starting to go to seed. So these will be planted out in March under plastic, and they're looking great. Exactly where I want them to be. Kind of nestled in between my first batch of peppers. Got them on now. And then down here I've got some turnips. They're ready to be planted out now, but it's just a little bit too cold, so they're waiting for a few days. Some little lettuces. I've got loads more lettuces ready to be planted out, but everything's waiting. Next batch of Oregon sugar pod peas. First early potatoes. Well, super early potatoes really, not first earlies. Those are Swift. These are Charlottes. And we're growing these for early baking potatoes, and that's why we've really got them in the conservatory, to try and maximise the growth before they go into the polytunnel, and which will kind of happen. There's some more there. just transplanted actually those yesterday. And I've got another big plant there. Might actually keep that one in the conservatory just to see how it goes. And then down here on my desk, I've got my next batch of super early potatoes. And then we just switch over to traditional planting methods. And I've actually got a little ebook about growing super early potatoes for salad potatoes and baking potatoes and general purpose potatoes. And yeah, I'll put a link to that down in the description if you want to try that. Still plenty of time at the moment to do that. I've done some of these just ridiculously early, partly so I can shoot the videos, and also because I'm just trying to see whether I can get baking potatoes in sort of late April really. We normally try and get them for June, July time, but we thought, well, we'll give it a try. See if we can do it even earlier. And I've got plenty of onions up here. It's too warm for them in here really, but it's also too cold for them on the allotment right now because it was minus 5.9 degrees last night. I've got a few lettuces waiting to be planted out in one of my low tunnels, but again it's just too cold for them right now. Lettuces would actually be fine down to that temperature, but these, which are not hardened off, wouldn't be fine. So I'm waiting until temperatures are above freezing to plant those out. I've just got a few potatoes chitting. I only chip my super early potatoes, I don't bother with the rest of them. So we've just got some Charlottes there, some Swift there, and some Arran Pilot there. So all these plants are in my conservatory, which is kind of like my den. It's where I do all my writing with my feet up here like this. And I get to be surrounded by all my seedlings. And of course all the light from the grow lights as well. It's a beautiful sunny day today, but normally when it's sort of cloudy and rainy and everything, it's just amazing to be bathed in so much effectively natural sunlight, because the spectrum of these grow lights is very similar to natural sunlight now, so it really is a nice place to be. And I've also got a little ebook, I think I mentioned it, but I'll also just put a link to the whole of the ebook. Quite a few of the growing guides have been written now. I will do videos kind of introducing each chapter as I'm kind of happy with it. Yeah, if you're keen, then you can take a read in advance. And I do now offer the option to support me via Buy Me a Coffee, and there's a link to that in the description. And that allows you to become a member of the channel, and there's a few perks to being a member of the channel. But if you can't afford to become a member of the channel, that's no problem. Just drop me an email and I'll send you a gift membership. I'm not in this to make money, but if you do want to give back, then that option is available now. So I hope you like this quick video. My name's Steve. This is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.